Hello, and welcome to Brainy Gardener. Today, it is all about how to grow and care for the aloe ferox. Aloe ferox, or Cape Aloe, is a succulent plant that grows in the wilds of South Africa and Lesotho. The indigenous people of these regions and early European settlers have used these plants for centuries both medicinally and as an aesthetic plant. Cape Aloe is popular as a garden feature or an indoor ornamental plant because of its huge, showy red-orange flowers. Its leaves are lined with sharp brown teeth along the edges and on the back. They are incredibly sharp and need to be handled with care. The Cape Aloe is a forgiving succulent, easy to grow, and easier to maintain. Beyond providing the necessities, the gardener needs to do little else. Aloe ferox prefers full sun but can deal with light shade as well. If you grow this aloe indoors, place it near a south-facing window where it will get as much direct sunlight as possible. Aloe ferox prefers well-draining soil that's slightly alkaline. A good mix for this aloe is equal parts potting soil, perlite, and coarse sand. Adding some compost will help keep the soil from becoming too compacted in pots and provide added nutrients. Aloe ferox is drought tolerant and does not need watering more than once every 2 weeks. However, more frequent light watering may be necessary for succulent plants growing indoors to prevent them from becoming too dry. Aloe ferox is slow-growing and does not require fertilizing for several years. If needed, fertilize with a balanced fertilizer during active growth in spring and fall. Avoid over-fertilizing to prevent root burn. Cape Aloe prefers temperatures between 55 and 85 degrees Fahrenheit. It does not like drafts and should not be exposed to the cold if wet. You should maintain humidity at around 40 to 60% on average. It is winter hardy to USDA zones 9 to 12. Aloe ferox is not a good candidate for pruning. The dead leaves surrounding and forming a coating over the younger leaves perform a necessary function and shouldn't be removed. Aloe ferox rarely needs repotting. If planted in a large enough pot, this plant will easily stay there for multiple years. However, if you see roots overflowing from the pot, it's time to repot. Spring is the perfect time to undergo this process. Avoid repotting in winter. Prepare the pot. Select a large container to allow for some future proofing. Clay/terracotta pots work best. Choose a spot in your home with plenty of light and warmth. The light should be the main priority when picking the aloe spot. The soil should be a mix of peat moss, perlite, and vermiculite. This will ensure that the plant has good drainage and aeration. Remove the aloe from its current pot by cutting off the bottom of the pot with a sharp knife. Place your aloe in the new pot filled with the pre-selected potting mix. Place your aloe on top of its new soil so it is centered. Fill in any empty spaces with soil mix until it reaches about 2/3 full. Water freely and allow it to drain quickly. You can use both seeds and head cuttings to propagate an aloe ferox. However, head cuttings run the risk of ruining the parent plant and are therefore not recommended. To propagate this plant by seeds, split the seed pot to get to the black, flat seeds within. Take the fresh seeds and plant them under a thin layer of soil in a well-draining pot. Water lightly and wait for seedlings to germinate and take root. Transplant in a new pot when they are sufficiently grown. Red-orange tubular flowers appear in a candelabra-like arrangement above the foliage. They are held in upright inflorescences that leave a lasting impression on the observer. With an iconic appearance, the blooms make an aloe ferox immediately recognizable, even in a sea of other aloes. Aloe ferox is non-toxic to humans and animals. It is safe to be grown around children and pets. Mealybugs, scale insects, and aphids are some of the common pests of these plants. Mealybugs are small, white insects that can appear on the leaves and stems of your aloe ferox. They are easily identifiable by their cottony appearance. These insects suck sap from plants, causing them to wilt and die. Scale insects are small, immobile creatures covered in a hard shell that appear as raised bumps on your aloe's leaves and stems. They suck sap from plants and may cause discoloration or wilting. Aphids are small, sap-sucking insects that appear as tiny black specks on the leaves. These pear-shaped insects can spell death for your plant if not kept in check early on. Please note and avoid overwatering the plant, placing it under harsh sunlight, using poorly drained potting mediums, and fertilizing during the dormancy period. Overfertilization, dying leaves, and overwatering are some of the common problems of these plants. Overfertilization of your aloe ferox can be just as deadly as overwatering. If the succulent leaves are turning yellow and mushy, this could signify that you've given too much nitrogen to your plant. Switch to slow-release fertilizer if you haven't already. Dead or dying leaves are a natural part of any aloe's life cycle. In the case of aloe ferox, the dead leaves form a protective layer around the younger leaves. Don't remove them unless you know what you're doing. If you overwater your plant, it will die. Prevent this by using a pot with suitable drainage holes and letting the soil dry out between watering. This can be tricky if it often rains in your area.